individual, and I said, "This is Jan Doran, community activist." And she says, "Jeff, I'm not an activist, I'm an advocate." But what I will say, in the history of our country, the history of the state, is that individuals who have been activists have transformed and brought about good policy. And even though Jan says she's an advocate, she has that activist heart, and she's brought about transformation as it relates to the city and county land development codes, our planning practices, ensuring that we have equality as it relates to our neighborhoods. And so Jan has really done so much. So Jan, on behalf of all the citizen volunteer hours, and I mean countless hours, I can't even count the number of times you've been involved in our budgeting process, our citizen outreach group, working through the tedious planning code discussions, code scrubs. Thank you so much on behalf of the city of Colorado Springs.
Well, we've heard from the current administration of the current strong mayor, and we're about to hear from the first strong mayor, Lionel Rivera.
Oh, thank you, Dave. I kidded with Dave, he said I had 3 minutes. I go, well, former politician, that means 10. No, I'll try to stick to 3.
You made us stick to 3.
I
did. Your time is up.
Well, for those of you who don't know, I was on council from 1997 to 2011. 6 years as a council member, 8 years as a mayor. And the mayor part was 2003 to 2011. And I can't remember a time during those 14 years that Jan Doran wasn't involved somehow. And I would say she's a community advocate, not really in action.
Thank you.
Because Jeff said that we're on sometimes the same side of the fence, sometimes on the other. We were always on the same side of the table, working together for the community.
How come I never won so many votes?
Well, we just saw things a little bit differently. What she thought was best and what I thought was best were a little bit different. But I look at Jan as kind of the big picture and the impact that she had on the city of Colorado Springs and her being involved. So the things I remember her working on with us and helping us do the right things were the Springs Community Improvement Program. That was Mayor Makepeace's initiative. Public safety sales tax, the Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority, stormwater enterprise. All those were really big issues that had a huge impact on the city of Colorado Springs. And we relied so heavily on Jan Doran to give us the input from the neighborhoods. And we always knew that when Jan Doran came in front of the city council to give us her opinion, the neighborhood's opinion, it was an honest opinion, and really something that I really thought sincerely was good for the city of Colorado Springs. So when I look at the impact that Jan's had on our city, it's those big issues that she had a very positive impact that really helped change the city of Colorado Springs. If it wasn't for the stormwater enterprise, we wouldn't have the southern delivery system. And that's huge today and huge for the next 50 years. So thank you. Public safety sales tax, same thing. All those issues Jan was involved with on a community advocate level. And then personally, Jan helped me on my run for mayor, my run for Congress. She was very good. We won mayor twice. We lost a congressional primary, but thank goodness, because I really wouldn't want to be part of that. So that's okay. That's okay. But Jan
it would have been a little bit different if you could.
It might have been, yes. But Jan has had such a huge positive impact on the city of Colorado Springs. We relied on her for very good, sound advice, and we trusted her opinion. And we always knew that she was looking out for what was best for the city of Colorado Springs. Thank you, Jan. And you're still involved. That's awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And now we'd like to hear from Jill Gabler, City Council member.
I have 3 minutes too, and I have to read a proclamation. So.
And Lionel's good at saying your 3 minutes are
Watch Sarah.
So Jan, you are a passionate and articulate advocate for neighborhoods, and you have taught me so much about how to be a really good voice for neighborhoods, and I am really honored to be here tonight and to be the voice for the city of the Colorado Springs City Council on behalf of this special day. So truly, I have to read this really long proclamation now. Okay, whereas Jan Doran grew up in a small community where everyone knew and watched out for each other, and she has worked tirelessly for decades to share and grow that same sense of caring and protective community throughout the Pikes Peak region. And whereas Jan Doran became active in her neighborhood homeowners association and became a member of the Council of Neighbors and Organizations and served as president of CONO for 8 years, during which time both Jan and the organization became proficient in representing citizens and neighborhoods in land use and development issues. And whereas Jan has a passion for public process, thank you, and helping people understand the process, thank you, believing that residents need to learn more about the functions and requirements of municipal government in order to be responsible and fully engaged citizens. And whereas as a result of that passion, Jan became a member of numerous City of Colorado Springs boards and commissions, including the Land Use Review Board, the Public Safety Sales Tax Oversight Committee, the Ethics Commission, the Initiative Review Committee, and Code Enforcement Task Force, and the Citizen Advisory Committee for the CSPD, to name just a few. Wow. And whereas Jan was defined her pathway in life as serving God and community in that order, and continues to be active in many city, county, and nonprofit boards and commissions. Only one more whereas. Whereas the City of Colorado Springs council members wish to honor the exemplary achievements of Jan Doran through her leadership and selfless contributions of time, labor, and expertise. Now, therefore, the City of Colorado Springs City Council proclaims its profound appreciation for all that Jan does in our community and designates October 12th, 2016 as Jan Doran Day. In the City of Colorado Springs, urging all Colorado Springs residents to follow Jan's example of community participation and engagement in local government. Thank you. This is probably the greatest honor I've had since I've been here.
And we're going to play now, thank you to the county, Commissioner Sally Clark's video. Sally is, as everyone knows, Sally's spending almost as much time away from Colorado Springs as she is in the county, and so we're very happy that we were able to make this happen.
Did you just give her 3 minutes?
We could get her half.
Come on, it's more like 5. Everyone who knows
So
Sally.
Dan, we just want to thank you for your service to our community. This is a great opportunity for us to really send our appreciation your way. When I think about Jan Doran, I think that the words that come to mind for me are certainly faithful, loyal, tenacious, persistent, the things that really make for a great neighborhood advocate. And I guess when I also think about the things that you have given our community, it's being able to balance the fact that you're supportive of neighborhoods and also looking at things from a very pragmatic view to understand what's logical and to give advice to those, and really not because you're going to make any money off of it. It's basically as a volunteer, and that's, I think, what makes volunteerism and neighborhood organizations so great, is that they have leaders like you to move our community forward.
Jan, when I think of you, I think of honor, integrity, and the love to help other people and make it a better world. And you've been there for individuals and neighborhoods, all the way from Fire Station 3 to everywhere else. And I just wish more people in the world were like you. Jan, I remember that one time you were helping us, showing us how to run a neighborhood meeting, and you used a hand gesture, and what you said was legal, so I can do it here. I said, well, what happens when someone, stop? It works. Thank you.
I remember, Dan, when I think it was after I had gotten off the city council, and we were trying to get a neighborhood to work together on a park issue. It had to do with the ball field, St. Mary's ball fields, you'll remember this. And the neighborhood just wanted open space, and we knew that that wasn't gonna happen, that the likelihood of nothing going there was not an option, that the ball field was gonna come in play. And so we tried to get the neighborhood to work with us to look at logical pieces that we thought we could get, which would be lighting and the hours of operation, those kinds of things. And at one point, I think you and I both got fired from the job, but I guess that's a good thing because we weren't making any money off of it anyway.
Help other people and neighborhoods. I just can't say thank you enough for what you've done. I wish we could clone you, make you younger, and keep you around a lot more. But and your ability to find a common ground to move issues forward and solve them is phenomenal. I wish we were running for president.
I believe is so special about you is that even though you've never been elected really to public office, you've worked as a volunteer neighborhood advocate, or as we like to say sometimes activist, that the credibility that comes with when you come up to the microphone and up to the podium to talk to whether that's city council or a school board or to the county commissioners, you talk with such credibility, with such stability, and the ability to talk about things from a very logical perspective. The time that you've given on volunteer boards and commissions, helping the county get its Citizens College off the ground after we had kind of left the Citizens Academy at the city and established the Citizens College, which is still going today and very successful, to allow citizens to communicate and learn more about county government. It's those kinds of selfless acts that I think make you such an amazing person. When you step up to the microphone, people do listen. And even though you've never been elected to public office like I have or some of the others of us have, you are able to get things done and get things moving forward. So it goes to show you that people who are thoughtful and can really look at things from all different sides make very effective leaders, and you are one of those, and you've given so much, and we're just grateful for being able to know you and being able to call you friend.
And Jan, you've helped set the stage and showed others how to do it. Thank you very much for that.
And, excuse me, in a phone call I had with Sally before she went out of town, we were talking about the proclamation that I'm about to read, and which is very similar to the city's. And she said, you know, Jan has always been this tireless advocate for, sorry, how did she put that? This tireless advocate for transparency in government. And it would, I'm a little moved because Sally was moved. So, this is a proclamation of Jan Doran Day in El Paso County. Whereas Jan Doran grew up in a small community where everyone knew and watched out for each other and has for decades worked tirelessly to share and grow that same sense of caring and protective community throughout the Pikes Peak region. And whereas Jan Doran became active in her neighborhood homeowners association and became a member of the Council of Neighbors and Organizations and served as president of CONO for 8 years, during which time both Jan and the organization became proficient in representing citizens in neighborhoods and land use and development issues. And whereas Jan has a passion for public process and helping people understand the process, and believes that residents need to learn more about the functions and requirements of El Paso County government in order to be responsible and fully engaged citizens. And whereas, as a result of that passion, Jan is a charter member of the El Paso County Citizens Outreach Group, serving for many years as its chair. And with her leadership, the Citizens Outreach Group successfully promoted and facilitated multiple El Paso County Citizens Colleges, giving hundreds of citizens an opportunity to learn more about county government, meet with county leaders, and visit county facilities, including the Criminal Justice Center, Judicial Complex, Coroner's Office, Public Works Department, and Office of Emergency Management. And whereas Jan has defined her pathway in life as serving God and community in that order and continues to be active in many city, county, and nonprofit boards and commissions. And whereas the Board of El Paso County Commissioners wishes to honor the exemplary achievements of Jan Doran through her leadership and selfless contributions of time, labor, and expertise. Now therefore, the Board of El Paso County Commissioners hereby proclaims its profound appreciation for all that Jan does in our community and designates October 12, 2016 as Jan Doran Day in El Paso County, urging all El Paso County residents to follow Jan's example. Well, yeah, if I don't hurry up, it'll go up. To follow Jan's example of community participation and engagement in local government. Done this 11th day of October 2016 at Colorado Springs, Colorado. The Board of County Commissioners and all 5 have signed. And I believe you've seen this before, but here is a picture of Jan being presented this by the Board of County Commissioners, minus its chair, Sally, who's out of town. So now I'm going to introduce a real friend of CONO and a real friend of Jan, Bill Vogren.
Woo-hoo!
Of course, I have to hug the person who gave me so many of my columns.
When Obama was here for
Yes,
the Waldo
yes.
Cannon.
I wrote, if you don't know me, for 13 years, I wrote a column in the Gazette called Side Streets, 3 days a week, about neighbors and neighborhoods and issues. And early on in that would have been about 2002, Sally Clark said, "You really need to meet Jan Doran."
Well, Sally Clark said, "Be careful when you meet."
and Sally appropriately warned her. And I called Jan, and I found this person who seemed very willing to help me tell the story of neighborhoods and neighbors and dig into issues that were facing our neighborhoods. And we became friends and cohorts over the years. And in that time, I don't know how many 3,000 columns I wrote, but you had to be involved in at least half of them. We spoke every week at least. And if I wasn't calling her saying, "Jan, come on, I need a column," she was calling me saying, "You won't believe what's going on, but you can't use my name." She reminded me tonight, but I never did. I never did. Let the record show. And I'm a little uncomfortable because I normally do my public speaking in print, but since my very last column, we published it today, the Tri-Lakes Tribune and the Pikes Peak Courier. I guess I have to talk publicly. In print, I looked back at some of the things I wrote about you over the years. You showed up in a lot of my columns.
Oh, you're not going to publish.
And one of the things I said about you were the neighborhoods of the region's best friend that these neighborhoods ever had. Jan Doran, without a doubt. The things that you did for them, that speaking up on their behalf, selflessly. I would go to neighborhood meetings. I would go to an HOA meeting, and there'd be Jan. I don't know how many times I ran into you, and I thought, when does she ever go home and sit and watch TV? I mean,
Ask my son.
yeah. I mean, she was at meetings at night. She was at county meetings, city meetings. You know, you've heard all the. I don't have a proclamation to read, but you've heard all these things that she did. It's true. I don't know how there were extra hours in every day that you had. It was incredible. The amount of time that you gave to this community. They have no idea how deeply in debt they are to you. And I was in debt to you too for you helping me. And so I'm just here to say thank you. And on behalf of all these people who don't know they owe you, just thank you so much.
They always supported you.
Yeah,
That was it.
so that's all I can thank you.
And our last speaker is Margaret Radford, and Margaret
I'm in trouble.
is in a different career than when she first started as a friend of Jan's, both she and Sally, in lots of ways, they probably will say this isn't true, but I think they started their political careers as members of the CONO board.
That's right.
And they worked Sally and Margaret and Jan worked very closely together for several years at least. So I think it's a great thing to have you here as our final speaker. Margaret Redford.
All right, well, so Sally forgot a little story that we'll share with you. Sally and I, before we ever thought we would run for political office, we thought we were going to be so clever because the old CONO, you should know, the old CONO wasn't quite as supportive of neighborhoods as we have grown CONO to be. And as upstart troublemaker activists, Sally and I thought, well, if CONO isn't going to be supportive of our neighborhoods, then by God, we're going to have a coup. We're going to launch a coup, and we're going to take over CONO. And what we didn't know in attempting to launch a coup is that someone would would welcome us with open arms. And
love your enemies.
And become our friends, right? Yes. And so before long, she had conscripted us both and had us doing the newsletter and work and making phone calls and calling elected officials. And so we became, students at the knee of the master. And I'm proud to say that Jan went on to mentor us both, to teach us all kinds of things about how to represent constituents even before we were in elected office, and then when we were in elected office. And
You can't say that. You can't say that.
yeah, during the time we were in office, we had a 10th council member. She didn't get paid the princely sum of $62.50 a year. So the thing that we all owe you most, besides your tremendous friendship, is in teaching us how very important public process is, and that it is a process, and that helping to make sure that our community is involved in decisions, that we're involved in decisions, is a thoughtful step that every government should take. It isn't just a whim, it's something we need to really work for. So I'm going to take a line out of your playbook. It's serving God, family, and community. The reporter, I remember. And I'm going to thank you for being my mentor, my sister figure, and my friend.
And I'm going to take just a little minute here to do this housekeeping. I'll move this over to the side, and Rick's going to come up here with me.
That's great. You sound like
Always. You taught me that too. And just personally, I've learned so much from this woman. Somebody said she's a community treasure. It doesn't go far enough. And Jan, we're going to do one more. Excuse me. We're going to do one more thing. So, Rick, if you'll get ready to grab that. We are naming this room.
I'm sorry.
Go right in.
And it's transparent.
Sort of, yes. And when the county decides to kick us out of this building, or we've outgrown it, we will take that with us. And there will always be.
Danny, there'll always be room for you at the city.
I hold you to that. So there will always be a room with that name on it.
Oh, thank you so much. That is the essence of what I believe.
Thank you. Well, it's an honor to name it after you. Is there something else you'd like to say?
I am just, again, overwhelmed and so appreciative and actually just invigorated by the fun things you remember about what I did with CONO and just the fun stories. I guess, basically, I am a giver. I love to give, I love to help people, I love to do things that make things better. I'm not so good at receiving accolades, so excuse me if I kind of tear up about this, but I look around this room to each and every one of you, and I remember things that were so important to me. Whether it was Marjorie Smith's neighborhood that we sort of rescued from out of the depths, whether it was our neighborhoods in Rock Rimmon, whether it was the city saying, come on guys, you gotta do this. It's the right thing to do, or the county. You can't do that.
Soapweed Road.
Yeah, Soapweed Road. We didn't quite get the pit stop, but we got something. There are always things we wish we could have done more, that I could have done more. But with the support of all of you over the years, you've made CONO. I haven't made CONO, you have made CONO what it is. And Bill Vogren can attest to the numbers of times I said, this neighborhood. It's not about me, it's about this neighborhood. Or it's about this issue. Those are the things that are really so dear to my heart. And each one of you have played a part in where I am and what that means up there. You know, I don't know that I ever pounded on the dais when I walked up to either the county or the city, but sometimes I wanted to say, listen, listen, this is what's important. All of you and all of your neighborhoods, it's what the neighborhoods mean when we look at the city. The city can be, the county can be what it is, but it's the individual neighborhoods, it's the people who live there that make it what it is. And that's what I always wanted to protect, and that's what you all are still doing. And thank you for this honor, and thank you for Jan Doran Day.
Yeah, this is the,
You're the one college, is that right?
the membership, yeah. So, do you both meetings?
I'll be somewhere on that side.
That's 2 meetings a month. Do they meet every month? Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Why did the for sale sign blue?
Okay, well, they are all reminiscing. I'm going to say one last thing about Jan, and that is, it never has been about Jan, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to do this now. I guess I'll say that most of the speakers asked me, is there something going on that we need to be concerned about? As far as I know, there's nothing going on with Jan that we need to be concerned about.
This isn't my eulogy.
So Jan's going to continue to be our president emeritus, and she's an active member of our board.
And I'm not
all of the board members, why don't our board members raise their hands so you know? As all of our board members can attest that when things get a little confrontational occasionally or a little whatever, heated, that's a good term, thank you. I was going to go a slightly different way, and it's better, your word better. Jan is the one who brings us back together, and we continue to value that. So she's not going anywhere, she's going to be a big part of our board. We just wanted to be able to do this at a time when everybody could enjoy it. So thank you all for being here. enjoy the food that our board members have brought, including Jan, who didn't know we were painting this room after her.
One last thing. Today's not only Jan Doran Day, but it's Dave's birthday.
She lied.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Dave. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, guys.
Sarah, I thought he was gonna get away with it.
No, his wife called me, so it's not my fault. You can't.
I can't fire her. Thank you very much.
Sarah.
And these are CONO colors. We'll be cutting the cake. Anything else? I think it's food and celebration.
Yes, food and celebration. Thank you all for
I
being
like
here.
these kinds of meetings, food and celebration.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thank you. I did not want that to be a deal. I told Sarah, no, we're doing that. I thought it went well. Appreciate you being here.